Islam Makhachev knocks out Alexander Volkanovski with a perfect head kick. And Volk didn't look too bad, especially with how little of a training camp he had, but Islam just proved to be too much for him. Volk has always had a little weakness when defending head kicks. He doesn't block them with two hands. He always keeps his right hand up, but he's never able to get his left hand to defend the kick with both hands. You can't defend a head kick with just one hand. You need to defend it with both hands. He also a lot of times leans into the kick. I'm pretty sure Max, who's not even known for his head kicks or his kicks at all, landed a very good head kick on Volk because Volk just doesn't defend them well. Because they are in opposite stances, Volk in Orthodox and Islam in Southpaw, that opens up that head kick. And I mentioned this in my prediction video. If you want to go back and look at it, I said that because they're in opposite stances, those head kicks are there. And Islam has very good head kicks. He doesn't telegraph them. They're quick and they got a lot of power behind them. And this head kick was perfect, perfectly placed, super accurate, super fast, no telegraph, and it landed clean on Volkanovski, knocking him out for the first time in the UFC, and the first time since like 2013 or 2014, years before Volk was in the UFC. But as you can see, they were in opposite stances, and as Islam throws the kick, Volk tries to get his left hand there, but it's just too late, and Islam places this kick perfectly above the right hand of Volk. The accuracy on this kick was crazy, and it landed in just the right spot, wobbling Volkanovski, dropping him, and then Islam finished him with ground and pound. And it was a crazy sight to see. I never thought I'd see Volkanovski finished like that. On the surface, this looked like a naked head kick. However, Islam was doing a very good job at conditioning Volk by throwing a bunch of leg kicks and a bunch of body kicks. He was throwing push kicks to the body, roundhouse kicks to the body, and leg kicks. And this would make Volk expect the kick to go to either the leg or the body, and then Islam could mix it up high and catch Volk off guard like he did. And that wasn't actually the first time Islam threw that head kick that knocked Volk out. He did it once before earlier in the round. Now the reason the other kick knocked him out and not this one was because Islam didn't land it flush against the head, and Volkanovski was also sort of moving away from the kick, which decreases a lot of the impact instead of moving into the kick like he did when he got knocked out. Islam also didn't place his footing too well. He should have stepped a little more to the outside, which would have given Volk less room to move away from it. So had Islam placed his footing a bit better, he could have knocked Volk out in like a minute. But overall, Volk didn't look too bad. He didn't look slow at all. He defended the takedown very well, and apparently the announcer said he didn't land a single significant strike. That can't be right. I counted at least 2 leg kicks he landed that should have counted as significant strikes. I haven't checked the stats, so I don't know if they did count it, but Islam definitely got hit. And the only takedown Islam shot, Volk defended it perfectly. Now, it wasn't a great shot from Islam. He didn't really set it up, and he sort of just shot from distance, which made it very easy for Volk to see, but he was able to get his hips back and then get to an underhook. And then as Islam pushes Volk up to the fence, Volk is able to get the second underhook and then reverse the position. And then Volk is the one who's actually trying to take Islam down. He tries to trip him out twice. Probably not the best idea. Probably should just use those underhooks and separated. But as Volk does eventually separate, Islam's able to get him in the tie clinch where he lands a few good knees. And then they get out to range where Islam finds that head kick and finishes Volk. But overall, Volk, besides defending the head kicks, didn't look too bad. Volk was light on his feet, moving around, didn't seem out of shape by the looks. We didn't see him go into the deep rounds, so we don't know how his cardio was. But visually, he looked in shape. He was constantly moving around the cage, not standing still, not keeping his back against the fence, and Islam actually did a very good job cutting off the cage. Very impressed with him on that. But Volk was out there probing with the lead hand, circling away, landed a few good leg kicks, and defended the takedown pretty well. Just the strength of Islam in the clinch showed. But in the end, Islam knocks Volk out with a perfect head kick, and that is exactly why I was against this fight from the beginning. Volkanovski got brutally knocked out. It was bad. And it could be a career-defining, potentially a career-ending knockout. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, and I hope that doesn't happen. But a lot of guys that get knocked out like this never are the same. And Volk's, I think, 35 or 36. He's not young. And getting knocked out like that could definitely change his career and change his abilities. Now, I'm not saying if he had a full training camp and went in there 100%, he would have beat Islam. I'm not saying that at all. It might even have been the same outcome. Islam might have still knocked him out in the first round with the same head kick. We just don't know. And that's the issue. We got robbed of what could have been a potentially great rematch with both guys close to 100%, but now we will probably never see that fight happen again. And this isn't an excuse for Volk or to take anything away from Islam. Islam went out there and did what he did, and Volk in the end accepted this fight. And I understand why he accepted this fight. He went in there and thought he could beat Islam, and maybe he could beat Islam on that night, but he didn't, and he paid for it by getting knocked out. And who knows if he'll ever be able to recover fully from it. I hope he does. This Ilia Topuria fight should not happen in January. Volk should take a few months off. I know he said in the post-fight press conference that he still wants to fight in January, and he's not in the best mental state when he's not fighting. I'll talk about that in my next video. But for his own physical health, he should not fight for at least 5-6 months. And I'm worried that even with a rest, he might never be the same. And if he goes in there against Ilia in January and gets knocked out again, then it's probably it for Volk. And even if he does rest, there's no guarantee he'll come back the same fighter. I hope I'm wrong, but typically when guys get knocked out at this stage in their career, they're never the same again. But what's next for both guys? Volk should take a break, as I've said, till at least like March. And when he comes back, he still has the featherweight belt. He should go back down, fight Ilia Topuria. I know they've rumored to have Max versus Topuria for an interim belt. If Volk can't make January, he should not make January. So if they put together that fight, then I guess you have to do the winner. As for Islam, you put together the Charles fight again. Charles is the most deserving of a title shot. He was supposed to be there at UFC 294, pulled out with an injury, so the UFC should definitely put that fight back together. But anyways, as the end of the video, if you guys did enjoy, please subscribe, follow my brand on Instagram, follow myself on Twitter and Instagram. Leave your opinions in the comments down below, like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Stuck in a bad dream, Hollywood rich girl stuck in my backseat. She wanna get at me, but the day's too short, can't let her distract me.